Well, what a long day yesterday was. Didn't get home till after dark, left at 1 in the morning. Nearly 20 hours on the road to go get this round trip. It was about 500 miles away, north of the Finger Lakes in upstate New York. You might ask, why would we pull this home when we have a nice gooseneck trailer? The main reason, with everything going on now, diesel prices are going up. I would have done it anyways, probably at $3 diesel, whether it be 3 or 5, it doesn't really matter. The fuel economy savings on not having to pull a trailer out, we were able to get 16, 18 miles a gallon out all the way out, and then maybe drop down to like 12 to 13 on the way home. Versus taking the trailer, I'd be lucky to get 13 on the way out. I'd probably drop down into the low teens, or below maybe 10 miles a gallon, if that, on the way back. So I'm figuring pulling this home probably saved us about $500 in fuel. And for $500, I could replace both those tires and wheel bearings and be perfectly fine, which the tires look fine. The wheel bearings never got warm. They repacked the wheel bearings before I came and got it. So really, I felt like it was a safe bet to try it and hope nothing goes wrong and figure it out if something does go wrong. And luckily nothing did. So that's kind of the reason we went the direction we did. And the reason we went Vermeer is I want a drawbar style hookup. I do not want to deal with 2-point or 3-point implements. It's just so much easier to drop a pin in and go. I can put it on anything. I have 3 points on all my tractors. I do not have the ball for the 3-point that goes into the hitch on 2 of them. Not a big deal, what, 20, 30, 40 bucks, whatever, to get those, but it's just way easier to hook these 2-point style implements up, or sorry, the drawbar implements, just to drop a pin in and go. So that's kind of my preference on the type of equipment I want to run, is that. So when you start jumping up into these 6 and 8 basket tethers with the running gears on them, the drawbar style becomes less common. I think Kuhn makes a drawbar style, and Vermeer are the only two that I was really strongly considering. And obviously I'm in the used market, so that really limits the scope of what we can buy. Also, when you're buying used, obviously you got to deal with whatever's on the market and whatever's in your price range, because we were not going to be spending $20,000 on a tedder. Definitely needed a big tedder to match that mower, and that's the reason we went 8 baskets to match that. I think a big 6 would have done it. It would have been tight. Here gets us a few feet of wiggle room on either side. So if you're like me and you can't steer perfectly straight all the time, 100% of the time, and you get off by more than an inch or two, this gives you the wiggle room. You can play around with it a little bit. So definitely like having plenty of extra room. I'm figuring we need about 26 to 28 feet of working width on a tedder to hit 2 windrows on that if we're leaving 8-foot wide swaths. This has 33 feet, gives us plenty of room. Just go down the center of them, hit both, ted them out. Really, really like that feature on this. Another feature I really like. So obviously going used, we're having to deal with what's on the market, and there are cheaper tedders out there. And Rossi, Frontier, I'm trying to think of another one that's out there. I'm not trying to bash on Pequot. I don't know a lot about Pequot. I didn't look too much into those. I don't like Frontier and Rossi or Keverland. They don't seem to be built as heavy from what I've read. And so the main 3 we're looking at is Kuhn, Krone, and Vermeer. We went Vermeer because that's what was available. This has the hook tine, little different style, and they did throw in some extra hook tines and a can of touch-up paint, because there's a few things that if I get around to it I'll touch up. But the hook tines I like because it's supposedly going to be better for spreading the hay and getting the wet material on top of the windrow. Not to say the other brands don't do a good job, but from what I've read, these Vermeer hook tines do a better job of fluffing. I think they all fluff up fine, but these are just known for getting that wet material kind of on top of the windrow, or on top of the mat, I guess, if you will. So it's, that was one thing that kind of drew me this direction. They do have some play, and those bushings up there, so that's a little concerning, but I think that'll be okay. They put new tubes in all of these little dolly tires, resealed some of the cylinders, and I know that PTO there, they said they pulled that apart and re-greased that, because that's an issue sometimes if it gets left outside, water gets in there. But overall, really excited about this tool here. It's going to be really nice paired with that. If you didn't watch my video on that and you're curious about that, I did a walkthrough, kind of showed some of that. I think that mower I'm really excited to use, and there's no way we're making dry hay in Northwest Ohio in our humid environment with wet ground conditions, putting 19 feet into an 8-foot wide swath. This, I'm hoping, will lay it out as a complete mat, or at least widen it out a great deal. Ideally, it just spreads it out completely. I don't know if we'll get that lucky. I guess we'll find out. But yeah, pulled home pretty good. 20 hours on the road definitely wore me out. I was doing all right, but man, at the end there, I was certainly ready to be home. And then another neat feature on these, which I don't know why they have them on so many of them. Really, you only need it on your outside. You can pull this back and put that up into that position, pull it back and put it down. So I think that's regular tedding, and then up would be like your fence line setting. So then this outside rotor would kick it in rather than spreading it out. So you don't have hay get into your fence line, ditch lines, other neighbors' fields. Looks like it has them on most of the rotors. Maybe all of them, honestly. You would have to go through and reset every single time for whatever reason if you wanted to set them all to spread in, I guess, different settings. If you think it needs to do that, I suppose that'd be an option, but I think you just do it on your outside rotor, you'd be okay. I am new to tedding, something we're gonna try. Here in Ohio, tedders are becoming more common in our neck of the woods. I know Eastern Ohio, Southern Ohio, I don't think people make dry hay without them. And why people don't run them in our area, I'd like to tell you there's a reason, but I think 90% of it just comes down to people are kind of stuck in their ways, and we've been able to get hay dry all our lives with just using a bar rake. So why would we ever change anything? You know, and the rotor rakes came out. So people kind of went that direction, and they saw the benefit of that you're still going from rake to rake, adding another tool, another pass in the field. They're like, I'm assuming that's what most of it is. I do know some guys who have tedders in our area, and I've mowed fields the same day as them, and they tedded. I did not. They were baling a whole day sooner than me. So if we can get hay in 3 days by using this tool versus the 4 days we traditionally have, we can get in tighter windows, continue to tackle the greater acreage we're jumping up in this year, and get our cut intervals a little bit shorter, because that's part of the issue is when you need these big windows to make hay and you don't get a lot of great opportunities for 4 to 5 day dry spells. That means you just got to keep waiting until that dry period hits, and that might be later on in the year. The sooner we can get in the fields and get that first cut off, the better for me. I'm not pushing tonnage, I'm pushing quality. First cut's not a big market for me. So if we can get first cut out of the way and done, take advantage of more of that spring growth, that spring rain, push tonnage on second cut where more of our better markets are at, maybe be consistently hitting 4 cuttings, which we've done that plenty of times, but consistently hitting that on a lot of fields because we can get these intervals and hit these tighter windows. This tool here is going to allow us to do that. I'm not saying it will make better quality hay. I think we've done good at making really high quality hay, but I think this will help us be more consistent in doing that and allow us more opportunities to keep making high quality hay in greater quantities, right? Because there's only so much hay you can bale in a day. There's only so much dry periods of those 5 day windows that you can get. So if we can consistently hit 3 day windows, or maybe mow right before rain and ted it out right after the rain, take advantage of that, get in times making hay when we otherwise wouldn't, we'd be able to push our cut schedule up and take advantage of more cuttings per year, which is really what I'm shooting for. I don't care if it takes a few extra passes. This is going to do 20 acres an hour. I know one day with my Puma on 540 economy mode, I don't think I burned more than a quarter gallon of diesel on 60 acres of raking plus 24 miles of driving. So yeah, 50 cents an acre in tedding, or maybe $1 an acre in tedding and fuel. Yeah, I'm not too worried about that really. So this extra pass doesn't bother me if we can get this bumped up and take advantage of that. So I know when you figure like custom tedding, yeah, to pay someone $9 an acre is probably what it's going to cost. Yeah, I may not, and that's finding someone who can maybe get out there and fit into your time schedule. May not happen, but for me, owning this tool is going to, I think, put a lot more money in our pocket, and allow us to just shorten that interval up, get our first cut done early mid-June, maybe. We have a lot of acres to run, we'll see. Probably pick up more acres and keep making first cut well into the end of June, maybe early July. I don't want to, but we always have second cut hopefully going first week of July, ideally, but I'd like to have a lot more second cut early July. The reason we haven't in the past is we get done a first cut, and it just drags out forever. So that means the regrowth on second gets pushed out later into July, and then, ideally I want to have second cut first week of July, third cut early August, and be doing a fourth in September, and getting those cut intervals. This is going to help us to do that. Overall, you just got 3 hoses on here, 2 remotes. So you have a single acting up and down, which runs the really small cylinder you can't see that just raises this up and down to get it into cradles. And then you have 2 remotes, and that just folds out the wings and sets it down, and that's your lift and lower when you're in the field. Lights, tires, nothing really too complicated on it, honestly. Another thing I liked about this, There are right there U-joints between each one of these. There's U-joints. I know some of these they have, I can't explain it with one hand, but it's basically like it just has a bunch of fingers, kind of looks like this, and then they interlock and intermesh when it's folded down. And I feel like those can get a lot of wear in them, maybe get out of time, maybe break, and be obsolete those parts are. So I think these U-joints, I like that feature too. And when one's lined up to grease, when you unfold it and you line up one, they're all lined up and pointing up. Easy to get to with the grease gun. I like to keep stuff greased, so easy maintenance is a big plus for me too. I mean, I was gonna buy this regardless of some maintenance issues, you know, but having some of those pluses of being easy to maintain is definitely something I really like and I'm really excited about. And there's another shot of this mower. I'm very excited for this. This thing's going to be so much fun to run. So that's one big head on that. It's gonna need spread out for sure. Thanks for watching. Catch me on the next one. We'll get you updates. We got lots of goats giving birth right now, so we'll have to do a video on that. Lambing's done. We're gonna maybe start weaning lambs soon. At least the first 2 that were born in December. The rest, maybe give them a few more weeks. Yeah, things are starting to get busy here. Getting ready. We have a lot of big projects going on. We've been busy out in the woods doing some clean up there. I really haven't said what's going on back there, but there'll be videos on that soon enough, and we're really excited for that.